Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm here with Timothy. He's wearing a really cute outfit that I don't even remember where it's from anymore because I've had it for like 3 years now. But it's one of those outfits that's in my collection that I just cannot part with. I don't think I'll ever sell it. It's so cute. And you know, I've yet to see another one like it. I just think it's like a very classic style, traditional style. So it's one of those items that I didn't mind paying a lot of money for. A lot for me, that's subjective, but I didn't mind paying a little more for to be able to keep it for so long. So I really like this outfit. A lot of my dolls have worn it. And I think this is the first time I'm actually putting it on Timothy. Look how cute it looks on him. I just love this outfit so much. And the back of it is super cute too. I don't even know what you guys can see, but there it is. I'm gonna brush his hair a little bit. So this little guy, let me brush his hair. I'm kind of, I've been saying this in the past 2 videos that I'm considering selling, but every time I look at his face, it's so cute. And I can't get myself to do it. Like, I feel like he's I believe a sold out kit. I'm not sure on that. Don't quote me on that. But I know he is a limited edition. So there's not going to be a lot of him. And I actually don't know how limited the edition is. I have no idea. I'm thinking about it right now. Probably should have checked his COA before I did this, but this isn't a sell video. I'm just showing you guys how cute he is. Sometimes it takes for me to take the doll and start changing it to be able to appreciate again why I wanted the kit in the first place. But he certainly is a beautiful one. I was for the longest time waiting and waiting patiently. I've always loved Gudrun Legler's faces, and for the longest time, I waited for Gudrun Legler to do full limbs. She was doing 3/4 limbs for the longest time, and this is going to be a drinking game, so every time I say longest time, you guys have to take a shot of vodka. I'm kidding. But then she finally came out with like full legs and then 3/4 arms, and I still would pass up a lot of her dolls because of the 3/4 arms. I couldn't do it. I could not do the 3/4 arms. Finally she started coming out with full limb babies. And another artist that I've always loved the faces of her dolls, and I see that she's starting to do the same thing, which is sculpt dolls with full limbs, is Carola Wigrich. I'm not even sure if I'm saying her name right, but she came out with this kit, Louisa, I think that's what it is, or Louise, and she's beautiful. I mean, her details are amazing, her face is amazing, and she's full limbs. I'm considering that kit, but at this time right now, I have a lot of babies coming, so I am like really showing a lot of restraint and just not doing any pre-orders of any kits or putting my money down for any customs. So that's where I'm at with that. Another artist that I wish and I hope she's going to, you know, follow her counterpart, her contemporary artist is Lindy Scher. I love the faces on Lindy Scher's dolls. But then again, she does the 3/4 limbs. Sometimes it's 3/4 legs and full arms, or both 3/4. I can't. And I've spoken about this before. I just really cannot do anything but full limbs. And a lot of it has to do with the fact that I live in a warm climate. So it's really important for me to have the full limbs. Bubble rompers, sleeveless, short, showing the thighs, everything. It's just part of the climate that I live in. Now this little outfit here, it's kind of like a short all. It would easily go on a 3/4 limb baby and be considered almost kind of a summer wear. But we live in some death heat here in California, the area I live in. So yeah, not maybe this is gonna fly for the spring, but definitely not for our the months that we get into past June, all the way into like October, into our little death heat temperatures. So the other thing I wanted to talk a little bit about, not to beat a dead horse, as I will be having one very complex and more detailed video about scams, Reborn doll community scams. And by scams, I mean that, you know, either people, I see a lot of stories on, and I was talking to one of my friends about this, but I do tend to see stories of buyers who say they were scammed out of their money. And that word scam, I was scammed, they scam me, scam. What is a scam here? You know, what can we actually consider being scammed out of your money, or scammed in some way during a trade? When trading, selling, doing all this movement, this goods transactions on in this community with our dolls. This latest situation has been very eye-opening for me, and I've learned a lot from it. I've had minor situations that didn't really amount to anything, but this latest situation, I am weighed heavily by it. If you guys follow my Instagram, and well, first of all, I want to thank everybody who does follow my Instagram, has seen my posts there. And the recent, you know, my Instagram stories, as you guys have been following my situation with the sale of my JC doll. Thank you guys all for your support and the information that you guys are offering, and all the help that you guys are offering. Also, the video that I recently uploaded onto Instagram, IGTV, that one is a really important video. Some people have told me, well, that's confirmation of, you know, that the buyer approved the purchase, which to me it is too. But all of that is being reviewed now, and I am relying heavily right now on the financial institution of somebody who I feel, in my opinion, for the circumstances that what they've put me through, I am being scammed. In one way or another. Let me tell you how one little scam that people pull. Now, this is my disclaimer. This is not the exact circumstances that this person who bought my JC did to me. This is a story that I'm telling you guys from stories that I gathered about people in forums and people that have been involved in scammy eBay sales. So that is my disclaimer. But I had read and been told about situations on eBay where one particular person that is a seasoned eBay seller and has had their share of many scams and buyer disputes, they were telling me that a lot of the times there are scammers out there on eBay who want to get the lowest price possible for whatever it is that you're selling. So they told me the situation about this jacket that they were selling on eBay, and the buyer, you know, bought the jacket on eBay, kept the jacket for quite some time, and then opened up then wanted a refund after having the jacket for a little bit, saying that the buttons were loose, whatever, some damages or some flaws on the jacket. A lot of the times the people that are pulling, the buyers that are pulling these scams, they are trying to get the lowest price possible prior to purchasing the item, but some of them have the audacity enough to try to get the lowest price possible for your item, for the seller's item, post purchase, once they have it in their hot hands. So a lot of the times these eBay buyers will start to fabricate defects, flaws, damage to the post office stories to hassle the seller. So they will contact the seller and say, oh, this and this was wrong with my with my item. And then, you know, the seller may stand their ground and say, well, you know, most sellers, for the most part, from what I was told from my friend that's an eBay seller, for the most part, eBay sellers, they have a lot of customers. They don't want to be hassled with refunds, exchanges, returns, because you never know what you're going to get back. You never know if they're going to send back the item totally destroyed. So now, not only are you out the money of the item, but you're also now paying extra to have the item shipped back to you, an item that you're never going to be able to resell again. So in some cases that I've read and I've been told, there were situations where the items sent back that the buyer no longer was happy with, despite the good review they gave from the beginning. The items were either destroyed or not in the condition that they were when the seller sent it to them. And still, PayPal and eBay sided with the buyer. They always side with the buyer. So I was made aware this past week from people that I know that sell on eBay that this type of trying to get a discount from an item they purchased, a buyer that's trying to get a discount from an item they purchased, once they have it in their hands, they know that for the most part, sellers are not going to want to have to go through the hassle of paying for the item to be shipped back to them, then receiving an item that's not sellable anymore, that just has to go in the trash. So they rather just either give them the refund and the people keep the item, or which is kind of my case here a little bit, loosely my case. The person who bought my JC and then wanted a refund, and I'm just telling you a little tidbit of the story right now, but the person who bought my JC and wanted a refund initially asked for me just to accept a full return and refund them their money because of some like really superficial grievances that included the size of the doll's head, that that it had texture varnish, that the magnet has shifted in the mouth, that they didn't like the Bountiful Baby cloth body. These were all superficial things. They weren't like real damages or flaws or imperfections. So I refused to take a return because now no one is compensating me for the time that I set aside to do myself. So much goes into preparing a live stream or a video, the lighting, the time that you have to be alone to conduct a video, you know, or a live stream. All of this I have to work into my work schedule, my kids' schedule, my doctor's schedule, and everything else that I do in my life. So it's a huge production to be able to go on live, to be able to make a video. So no one's compensating me for the time that I lost with a time waster. And truly, I believe this person, in my opinion, is a time waster. And so a lot of the times, these buyers will get the item and complain about something because they know the seller is probably going to offer them a discount for their inconvenience. I mean, it doesn't mean that the seller is that gullible and believes them, but the seller rather just not be hassled. So there's buyers out there that rely on knowing that the seller is not going to want to be hassled with paying extra for an item that they may not get back or may get back damaged. So after asking me for a full refund, this person asked me to, okay, how about a partial so she doesn't lose out on money when she tries to sell the doll herself. I still stood firmly that I was not going to refund any amount, not a partial, not a full, and I didn't accept returns because the doll is definitely sellable in her possession as it is right now, and it was her burden to now sell the doll. So what I gathered from the eBay, people that have been selling on eBay for a long time, they are aware of a really clever scam that people do. Disclaimer right now, I'm not saying that the person who bought my doll is a clever scammer, and I'm not saying that this was their intentions. This is just me repeating a story that I hear from other eBay buyers, that buyers will then charge back their financial institution to get around eBay policies and to get around PayPal policies. To yeah, and I don't know what kind of, you know, fabrication they make to do the chargeback, but obviously their financial institution allows it. So I mean, it does become a huge hassle. So that being said, and a little bit, you know, sharing a couple eBay stories here and there with you guys. And again, disclaimer, this is not necessarily directly related to the person who bought my doll, because the person who bought my doll bought it from my live stream, friends and family, via PayPal. She ambushed my live sell that I took a lot of time, you know, I put a lot of preparation into that live sell. So she had wasted my time. So in good faith, I was like, fine, I'll send her the doll, even though I had my apprehensions about this person, because they had ran a little bit of a time waster experience on me in 2018. But that's another story for another day. So I guess I wanted to ask you guys, as a buyer, how often have you been, do you feel like you've been scammed or deceived by someone who was selling something on eBay, or something that you bought, something that you bought from somebody, whether it's Reborn doll related or just any other item or good that you've bought from somebody else outside the doll community? How many of you guys as buyers felt like you had been scammed out of your money, or not received what you thought you were getting? And this is not to say that that doesn't happen to buyers, but I had seen in the majority of the stories that I've seen and read within the doll community, the majority are the sellers being disenfranchised, the sellers being ripped off by scamming buyers, people that are just up to no good. I've told these stories before on my channel. There was a situation that happened with a Romy Striatum silicone, where the person shipped it to England and the buyer said that the doll was not as described or whatever, or missing, or the doll was missing from the box. Most recently in 2018, a very prominent Australian artist who paints silicone dolls, same thing happened to her. She shipped a silicone doll to Canada. When it arrived to Canada, the buyer said the doll was missing from the box. So I always see, a lot of the times when I see these situations where there's like some kind of, what it feels like it's a scamming situation, I've always seen it, I always feel like the seller has been disenfranchised because they don't end up getting back their money. And PayPal, like the financial mediums that we use to pay to do our business, our doll business transactions, are usually PayPal, and they tend to side with the buyer. So let me know in the comments, you guys, what you think about anything that I said here today, and let me know if you as a buyer have experienced what your experiences in being, you know, ripped off or scammed by a seller via eBay, or if it was a private transaction that you did through PayPal. I'm looking forward to reading your comments, and I hope that everybody else, you know, if you're commenting something, I hope everybody else reads the stuff and enjoys what stories people have out there. That's all I have for you guys today. I hope you guys enjoyed seeing Timothy, and I'll see you guys again soon. There'll be some more updates and more things going on, but for right now, if you're interested in the story, you can follow me on Instagram. And I'm very selective of who I let into my Instagram, private Instagram doll account. But I have been posting live there because I do think it's something that, my story is something that calls for awareness. Ooh, I don't know what that honking was. Calls for awareness, and I just hope that everybody appreciates the message with the good intent that is behind it. All right, guys, thanks for watching.